Welcome to another team builder. This time it is for the CPL, as we are going into week 4 with D1 record. And this week we are going to go up against Justin. And Justin has drafted a kind of somewhat stally team. Usually I put offensive threats on the very top, but not this time since he has more of a stall team. More of his bulkier mons are more threats than his actual offensive mons. So let us get right into it. First off, definitely bringing Quagsire because with Unaware to set up Gyarados to set up a Megazard X. Um, so basically going to be physically defensive for both of those. Helps take on Garbodor. Ditto Quagsire versus Quagsire doesn't do much. And if Ditto is like choice locked, his Quagsire could easily be toxic. And yeah, it helps wall Cobalion as well. Helps wall Claydol. And helps wall Glaceon. So this is going to be sort of a problem. Have to get rid of this before I can do any setup sweeping. Next up, Mega Sableye. In this league, you don't have to Mega turn 1, so that Prankster could be a problem with Prankster Will-O-Wisp or Prankster T-Waves, Prankster Recoveries, and my Fairy type is Bulu, and the best Fairy move Bulu gets is Dazzling Gleam, which is on the special side, and Special Bulu does not really do much against this team. So Mega Sableye is going to be a hard cookie to crack. Next up, Salazzle. Outspeeds my entire team. Fire Poison isn't that bad against my team. Poison is, and Fire is useful for my double grass. Fire is useful for that Cobalion, that Glaceon, that Galvantula. And it can get a coverage, probably most likely Hidden Power Electric for Gyarados, is what I'm thinking. And then Nasty Plot, maybe Poisonium Z to take out Megazord X with Z Poison. And yeah, that is his most threatening offensive mon. It is one of his Z move users. Next up, Skarmory. Skarmory helps wall the Bulu, helps wall Tyranitar, helps wall Cobalion, helps wall Dolomise, helps wall Claydol, helps wall Gardevoir, and it allows him to set up spikes on my side and Stealth Rocks as well, which are kind of a hindrance to my team, especially since probably my best way of hazard removal is with Rapid Spin, which he can just switch in that Sableye on, stopping me from Rapid Spinning those away. And this is where the mons after this, I think, are pretty much interchangeable depending on what he wants to do, but definitely going to see that Quagsire, that Mega Sableye, that Celesmo, and that Skarmory. Moving on, Buzzwole, another Z move user. If he's going for a more offensive team, expecting me to predict his stall. Buzzwole is a good threat with its bulk, helps take on Bulu and Dolomise. It is also another Z move user. Fighting is good for that Tyranitar and Cobalion. Believe it gets Earthquake. So if he goes for like Ground EMZ, pretty sure that takes out Megazord X. Bug is nice for that Claydol. And does get rock type moves. could easily be Rocky MZ. That's probably more likely for that Gyarados and the Megazord X. So if I see Buzzwole, I am predicting Z move on that. Next up, Mr. Mime. Mr. Mime is an interesting mon. Could be run bulky with filter. Could be special offensively with like a nasty plot set. Nasty plot. Once it gets a nasty plot up, it does a lot to my team. So kind of worried about that. Of these top 6, Mr. Mime is probably most likely to be switched out. Toxapex, if he is still worried about Gyarados and Megazord X sweeping and doesn't want to put all that pressure on Quagsire, he will bring Toxapex with haste to help deal with that. Other reason he would bring Toxapex is to set up the toxic spikes and prevent me from spinning those away. So basically with a hazard stack bulky team trying to just stall me out as long as he can, that is a very good strategy for him to use. So probably most likely Toxapex would go up there. Next up, Xurkitree, probably the least threatening of his offensive threats, since I do have double grass. Tyranitar can wall it pretty well. Claydol can wall it pretty well. Doesn't really have anything to hit Megazord X for with super effectively. And kind of slow. So he would probably need a setup variant to work against my team, but then he would need to fear the Ditto, which would copy that, and then Xurkitree actually does a lot against his own team, so probably not going to see that. Avalog is probably a good bring, mainly because of its high defensive stat. And since most of my team are physical attackers, will be good walls for that, as well as gives him, it has recovery, which is nice for him. Pretty sure it can take a +1 Flare Blitz from Megazord X if it's fully defensive, and Earthquake off of that will do a lot. And yeah, probably Avalok of this middle group is probably the least likely to come, I would say. But still could come. Gives him my Rapid Spinner so he won't have to fog away his own hazards if I decide to hazard stack him. Tangrowth, even though I have grassy terrain, Tangrowth, not the best wall compared to his other mons, to all my grass types, because it does get blown back by the Gyarados, by the Megazord X, by Galvantula, by Meloetta, because if it's there for the grass types, it'd probably be more physically defensive. And yeah, next up, Chansey. Chansey, even though it is a good Wish Passer and Cleric all around, its physically defense is not that good, and my team is mainly composed of physical attackers, and will blow it back at the first sign. But still might come if he really wants that Wish Passer to stall out my team with Hazard Stack. And then last but not least, Shedinja. Shedinja, how, like, almost 0% chance that's coming, seeing is how my entire team, all my mons have moves that hit it for super effective and can be used for other mons on his team. Bulu gets Stone Edge, Tyranitar of course gets a Dark move, Gyarados Flying move, Cobalion gets Rock moves, Claydol gets tons of coverage for it, Glaceon gets Shadow Ball and Ice Beam, Megazord X Fire move, Galvantula. The only mon really that doesn't want to hit it is Galvantula. Can run Bounce though. Garbodor, I believe it gets Flamethrower or something like that. Might just be thinking of Weezing though. Pretty sure it gets something, hit it, and then Ditto can easily copy it itself. And if it doesn't have a move to hit itself, then it can't hit me and I can't hit it. So kind of in a stalemate there. Meloetta does get Shadow Ball and other moves for it, so highly not going to see that. So let us get into my team. First off, Dreidel, the Claydol, Rindoberry, Levitate, Rapid Spin, Stealth Rock, Dazzling Gleam, Earth Power. Rapid Spin to get rid of hazards. Stealth Rocks to get hazards up. Stealth Rocks will be super useful for that Shed Ninja and that Salazzle. As well as whittling him down, as he is probably going to be switching around quite a bit. Dazzling Gleam is there for this Mega Sableye to be doing more damage than Earth Power. Don't really need some other coverage move for it. Could run Psychic, but anything that Psychic is hitting for super effective, Earth Power is basically doing the same thing, except for that Buzzwole, but Dazzling Gleam is fine for that Buzzwole. And yeah, Earth Power is useful for Salazzle, useful for that Toxapex, for that circuitry. Why I am running Rindoberry is in case he does bring that circuitry and gets like a tail glow up, will not be able to knock me out with a energy ball then, or grass knot. If he brings Tangrowth, I can help wall that. And yeah. Moving on, I am bringing Chew, the Garbodor Leftovers, Aftermath, Spikes, Stamping Tantrum, Toxic Spikes, and Pain Split. With this set, helps take on that Buzzwole, helps take on that Salazzle. Stopping Tantrum is just there for that Salazzle. I am going to try and Hazard Stack him if he does not lead with Salazzle. Chew the Garbodor is a good bring versus him, especially if he does not bring Toxapex. Might bring Salazzle in to get rid of the Toxic Spikes, but do have Stomping Tantrum, and of course Spikes with those Stealth Rocks from Dreidel. Will be wearing down his team if he is trying to go for a bulkier team and pivoting around, taking hits. Will help wear that down. Pain Split is there for recovery, and probably best move for that Sableye, because Sableye is never 1v1 in this Garbodor. Even if it sets up a bunch of Calm Minds, doesn't really have anything to hit Garbodor that would knock it out in one hit. Helps 1v1 Toxapex. If Toxapex is in, I can send this in, get the Toxic Spikes off. Won't be able to get rid of them unless he switches in Salazzle. And yeah. So either the Garbodor or the Claydol will be my lead, depending on what I see on his team. And yeah. Next up, I am bringing Godzilla, Assault Vest, Sandstream Pursuit, Earthquake, Stone Edge Crunch. This is in case he brings in that Salazzle, and I have him on, and that's disadvantage. I can switch into this. Even if he gets up a nasty plot, he will not be able to knock me out, and I can easily knock him out with Earthquake. Pursuit is there for it if I suspect that it'll switch out. Same for Circuitry or for the Mr. Mime or the Toxapex. Stone Edge hits Buzzwold very nicely, hits Skarmory very nicely. Crunch is there also for stab and possible defense lowering, and Stone Edge is there for crits, which is nice, as well as the Evolug. Moving on, I am bringing Davy. The Dhelmise, Vicky Berry, Steelworks, Anchor Shot, Aerialist, Sword Stance, Shadow Claw. With this, I am going to try and trap in either the... Basically traps in one of his walls, like the Toxapex, the Chansey, the Tangrowth, the Dhelmise, or the Sableye, and allows me to set up sword stances. Aerial Ace is there for the Buzzwole if that is his answer to it. Don't really need a Grasp move since pretty sure Quagsire would switch right out of it. And yeah. Also, if depending on what he switches in, Anchor Shot that in, and then I know it won't. He can't make a double as I go into something that can answer it. And Shadow Claw is my hardest hitting step for everything that Aerial Ace and Anchor Shot don't really hit for very hard. And yeah. Next up, I am bringing Non-Spider the Galvantula, Akaberry, Compound Eyes. This speed is to outspeed, I believe, Mr. Mime. Get rid of the Filter Berry, filter ability, or maybe Soundproof, since Bug Buzz will not hit that if it is soundproof. Giga Drain is nice for that Quagsire. Thunder is nice for that Skarmory and Toxapex, and that Salazzle and Buzzwole, since Buzzwole's Spadef isn't all that good, as well as the Evolug. Spadef is not that good. Bugs Buzz is nice for that Tangrowth, for the Mr. Mime. Gastro Acid is there to get rid of abilities such as the Regenerator on the Toxapex if it tries to switch out on me. Gets rid of the Sturdy on Skarmory. Gets rid of the Beast Boost on Buzzwole and Circuitry. Gets rid of Regenerator on the Tangrowth, and gets rid of Wonder Guard on the Shed Ninja, since I am not running coverage moves for it on this. Last but not least, most likely my Wincon. With this HP defense and Spadef investment, Timid, Salazzle will not be able to knock me out without any setup. Outspeed, I believe it's either Mr. Mime or the Circuitry with this speed investment, which is nice. With the HP and defense, I believe I can take an Earthquake from Avalok. As well as the Quagsire, and then the rest into a attack. No need to run max attack because even if I am running max attack after a Dragon Dance, basically I am OHKOing the same things I would OHKO at this attack after a Dragon Dance. Only reason to run max attack is if I don't think I can get up a Dragon Dance, but I am pretty sure I can get up a Dragon Dance against quite a few things on his team, as well as Roost Recovery if he gets up hazards. And Earthquake and Flare Blitz is the only coverage I need. Blows everything away except for the Quagsire and the Tox. Just the Quagsire is basically his only answer to this, except for maybe depending on his Sableye set. And that is my team. So going into this game, see the matchup and either lead off with Claydol or Garbodor. Try and get up the early hazards before he gets that Mega off, or force him to Mega with his lead, and then whittle things down to the point where Charizard can set up a Dragon Dance and sweep. So basically, just need to get rid of that Quagsire for that sweep to happen. And that is my team. Hopefully we can win. Haven't had the best record against stall teams, but hopefully this battle will change that. And hopefully we go get the win for the 3-in-1 start, which is quite nice.